Welcome to the Unscripted Journey podcast. I'm your host, Cynthia Schoen. Around here, we believe in living life on purpose, not by permission. Each week, we'll talk real growth, fresh starts, and bold steps to create a life that's true to you. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's take this journey together. Welcome back to the Unscripted Journey, my friends. Today, we are going to be talking about something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and that is honesty. I recently heard someone speaking about this and saying how people aren't honest and the reasons why they're not honest. And it made me think, because I like to reflect on things when I hear them. And honestly, the first thing it made me think about was Billy Joel's song called Honesty. I hope you've heard it. It's a great song. It is an oldie but a goodie. It's been around for a long time. But one of the lines says, "Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue." Tell me that lyric, that line is not 100% accurate. Every time I hear it, I'm like, whoo, this lyric is timeless, because you know what? It is true. I think as long as man and women and humans exist, that this will always be true, because a lot of people struggle with being honest. Most people can't do it. Most people can't handle it. All right? It's just like they can't handle being truthful to their friends, truthful with themselves. And I get it. Listen, being honest means you're really facing some things you might not want to see or hear. And it means that you're admitting when you're wrong or when something isn't working anymore. And that could be hard for a lot of people. But if we're not really honest with ourselves, how can we possibly know what we want? How can we live an unscripted life, go on this unscripted journey, if we're still acting out a version of the truth that isn't real? If you are new to this podcast, the reason this podcast exists is because I came to the point where I had to be honest with myself and reevaluate who I was, where I was, what expectations people had of me that I didn't have of myself. It didn't align with my goals, and I had to take a step back, be honest, and say, it's time I start living for me. It's time that I start living out my dreams, not what other people want of me. And had it not been for that honest moment with myself, I wouldn't be speaking to you today on this episode. Why are we going to talk about honesty? Because I want to help you in those moments. I know that it feels hard. I know that we keep hiding behind untruth. And being honest, even when it hurts, can be one of the most freeing choices you can ever make. Being honest does start with a mirror moment, what I'm calling a mirror moment. You look at yourself in the mirror. Yes, I am thinking about the Man in the Mirror song by Michael Jackson. Another great song. But it starts with that moment where you're looking at yourself and you being honest with what you're seeing. You're not calling others out. It's about calling ourselves forward, okay? When you start with yourself, it has nothing to do with anybody else. It has to start with you. It has to do with you. This is about you. I wasn't always honest with myself. It was very hard for me to receive criticism. Oh my goodness, I would take it so personal. I'm like, what is their problem? I'm like, I can't believe they're saying that. Like, that was me. But I learned that with honest feedback comes growth. And if you want to grow, you have to be able to receive honesty. Honest feedback is so crucial in our lives. And honesty really is the first step towards clarity in your unscripted journey. Again, if you don't know who you are, what you are, where you're going, if you're not honest about yourself, can you know where you're going and where your next step is going to be? I had to go, you know me, I had to go out and kind of research what is the reason The main reasons why people are not honest. Most of it boils down to fear of punishment. So people feel like if they admit this, they might lose something, a job, a relationship. They might lose respect from people. People fear judgment. They start worrying about how others will see them, especially if their self-esteem is already shaky and they have to put on this persona. And it's fear of conflict. Like some people do not like hard conversations. They do not like uncomfortable situations where they have to confront things and have to talk about hard things. And some people just want to be at peace. Like, I don't want to talk about that. I want peace. But sometimes that peace is not real because you're not dealing with the situation at hand. And sometimes not telling truth, dishonesty is about self-preservation. Some people find it hard to tell the truth because they want to believe that they're good, even when they've done something wrong. It's not that they're a bad person, but they want to protect their self-image. And dishonesty becomes a way to maintain control or protect that so-called privacy. And for some people, it is just a coping mechanism. They have a hard time facing things that have happened to them in the past, and they lie to themselves in order to avoid pain or regret. And that is so much deeper than just plain fear. These are things where you have to really start seeking healing for whatever traumas that have caused that deep despair in your life, so you could get healing, my friend. And to just tie it all together, it comes down to fear. Fear of loss, fear of exposure, and fear of not being loved if we tell the truth. You know, social media is filled with so much untruths. You see pretty pictures of people on vacation. You see pretty houses. You see people, having dinner at a nice restaurant or getting a manicure or whatever. But behind those people's real lives, behind that social media post, that picture, that status, they are living a hard life. And what they're portraying on social media is not true. And so a lot of times it's hard for us to really see who is being real on social media because a lot of it is so fake. And honestly, I've been on a social media fast for the last month or so, and it's been fantastic. Social media causes you to compare yourself, and you start really dealing with self-esteem issues. So I do encourage you to maybe take a fast from social media, forget all that nonsense, and just start investing time in you. There is a cost to living untrue. There's a cost to dishonesty. There is a cost to living in a lie. And when we lie to ourselves, we live disconnected from ourselves and from others. When we keep people at an arm's length, when we lie, when we have to continue covering the story, it just becomes one building block upon building block of lie after lie, because you have to keep up with the first one. So you have to continue the story. We just did this exercise in a group where somebody started a story and the next person had to connect it and say the next part, make it up so that all ties in together. That's what happens when you start to lie and you can't be honest. You start making up things in order to try and connect it together. And it's really important that you do not do that, because your goals are going to become unclear, because you're building everything in your life on a false foundation. And dishonesty, it clouds our awareness, our self-awareness. And you can't fix what you refuse to face. Let's just go back to the mirror thing, right? If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and face yourself and say, dang, I need to fix this. Dang, I'm so messed up. Man, I need this. I need therapy. I need truth. I need to get myself together. If you can't fix that, there's a deeper problem. There's a deeper issue at hand. And clarity can't come without the truth. So you have to be honest. And there's a real power to being radically honest, right? Like, you're not going to lose. Okay, you might lose some stuff, but it's all stuff that you probably could stand to lose. If you can't be honest with friends, then they're not your real friends if they can't take it. And vice versa. It goes two ways. Honesty is not supposed to be harsh or cruel. It's supposed to be compassion through truth. And being honest does help us accept our flaws without shame. My friend, I want you to stop living under shame. I want you to stop living under your old self and be renewed and create a new life for yourself that you can accept and be happy. And man, true self-acceptance is just, it's not about being perfect. We're not perfect people. We're not perfect beings. But it is about knowing your imperfections and still loving yourself anyway. I have an episode on self-love. I encourage you to go listen to it. All these things tend to tie together because it is part of the journey that we are all going on. And if you're part of this unscripted journey, I encourage you to continue to listen to those episodes and do some of those exercises because they will help you get better. They will help you have more self-awareness. They will help you get to your goals. They will help you move on to your next steps. So keep going. Don't give up. Because once we get honest, we realize it's not loneliness we feel. We're not fearing loneliness when we start to be honest with ourselves. It's the loss of illusion. It's the loss of the perception of the life that we've been living. And the only thing that replaces that really is peace, right? You are exchanging that. Have that great exchange with that loneliness and that fear and exchange it for peace and joy and happiness and overall truth. I want you to begin practicing honesty with yourself and ask yourself the real questions, the hard questions. What truth am I avoiding right now? What can I just not face? And you know I love journaling. Take out your journals, take out your notes app, and begin to write things down. Don't edit your thoughts. Just let it spill out. Because typically when things come out of our mouth, as we start writing things out, those are the true things that are deep down inside. And don't be ashamed of what you're writing. Write it down, let it go, and let it flow, okay? And I'm going to be honest, if you can handle it, not everybody can, and maybe we're just taking baby steps here, get some feedback if you can handle it. Ask someone you trust for their honest feedback. And instead of feeling like putting up a wall, right, I want you to just listen instead of trying to defend yourself. So for example, let's say at work, you want to move up in the company, you want to get better, but you're afraid to ask. However, you have a good relationship with a coworker and perhaps you admire that person. Maybe it's your boss and you can ask that person, hey, can I get your honest feedback on how I'm doing? What can I do to better myself? What can I do to grow? If you can handle it, I suggest you try that exercise. Maybe it's a friend or a therapist, someone you trust, that's known you now for a while. And you can ask them, listen, I want to better myself. Tell me some things that you see in me that perhaps I'm not seeing. Ways that I can improve in the way I see life, in the way I do things, in the ways I can react, right? This is all really important. Don't go and start asking someone that you know is jealous of you. Don't ask someone, I don't know. I don't always suggest going to a parent, maybe not even a sibling. I suggest maybe you go to someone else, someone impartial, not related to you, unless you have a really good relationship with that person. Because sometimes when you start dealing with family, it can get a little sticky and murky and, after all, your family. So, and really use faith as your mirror in this exercise. Pray for courage to face the truth. It's not easy, but come before God Okay, I believe in God. I always tell you guys that. And if you believe in God yourself, I encourage you to come before Him and ask Him to reveal the weaknesses that you have and to bring the truth to light so that you can deal with it and give you the grace to handle it and to grow from receiving the truth. Go into, your closet, in your car, in bed, and just meditate and just say, God, I need you to help me in order for me to get better, in order to better myself, in order to excel. I need you to reveal the truth to me. And God will answer you. But you have to be listening and don't have an offensive heart. Have an open heart ready to receive, not only from God, but from the people that you love, that you've asked for feedback from. All right? That's just one simple little thing. And I want you to be challenged this week, and I want you to tell yourself the truth about one thing you've been avoiding. Just one. Don't go crazy with putting a bunch of things down. Just do one. Let's handle one thing at a time. Small steps, right? Because then you'll be able to celebrate that you were able to get through this. And just write down one thing about yourself that you've been avoiding. And you really might be surprised by how freeing it feels to write that out, to say it out loud, to express it, to finally say, I have been untruthful to myself about, and you fill in the blank, right? Look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your reaction. Feel what's coming out. Feel the emotions. It's important that we are aware of our emotions and that we are not ashamed of how we're feeling and how we are reacting to that emotion. You're going to be surprised at how freeing you're going to feel. All right, this is all for today, my friends. I want you to continue living that unscripted life. It means being honest with yourself. And the truth, even when it hurts, will always lead you home, and that's where you want to be. Until next time. Thanks so much for listening to the Unscripted Journey podcast. If today's episode lit a spark in you, keep that momentum going with the Unscripted Journey Reflection Journal. It's a guided space to help you tune in, take action, and start living life on your terms. It's available now on Amazon. Just click the link in the episode notes. And don't forget, I've got free resources waiting for you over at cynthiashone.com to support your growth between episodes. Until next time, live free and stay unscripted.